Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. If you're a new listener, welcome. If you're a veteran, welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about, say it, I think.
Czech dogs.
Czech dogs. Yeah.
What is it? Why is it?
Czech
what
dogs.
about it?
Yeah.
How come?
Yeah. Everybody has a Czech dog now. It seems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You gotta, I think, so if somebody's listening to this, because sometimes people drop off, as they're listening, I think, as I'm looking sometimes like how long they're listening to something. But I mean, Hans is a phenomenal dog trainer, but your friend, that's such he was 25. You have to say who Jiri was right away. If somebody never heard of you before, the whole story there. That's so important. I want to like jump on this because to me it's so exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I came to the United States, people say how to start, and you start from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So I came to the United States, and I was gonna get me a dog. So I started looking. Back then, Dog World magazine, right, and finally got dogs from Shiloh Shepherds. They were still doing German Shepherds back then. Okay.
Yeah.
And
this is 1980, 79, 80?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, 81.
Yeah, 81.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And so I looked around and I said, this is not what I'm used to, right? The dogs I got were good dogs and all that, especially Timber. He was a great dog.
Yeah.
But when you look around, and even police and stuff, they didn't look right, kind of bleached out colors. And it was not what it just wasn't it. It's just something was missing. So I said, so that's why I decided to import dogs from Czech Republic. Czechoslovakia back then. And I dealt with this guy, Ota Melon. And there's that story how we smuggled the dogs in the trunks of the cars to Germany and all that.
It's in your bio, the video. If you guys can go deeper about Hans's bio, just go to the alpinecaninreal.com.
Right. And so and then Ota couldn't supply me anymore because the volume of the dogs I needed was too big for him. He was a veterinarian, and it wasn't. Yeah. Plus, it's pretty nerve-wracking smuggling dogs in the trunk of the car.
Puppies.
We have 5 dogs in the trunk of the car going across the border. I don't know, right? So anyway, so I got together with Jiri Novotny, and we started importing the Czech dogs to the old style working.
Who's Jiri?
Jiri Novotny.
I know, but you gotta say it. That's what I was saying. Like people, who's Jiri?
Jiri Novotny. Rest his soul. He passed away of COVID, but he started breeding dogs and stuff before he could even officially in Czechoslovakia get the license to officially to breed dogs. So his father licensed z Blatenského zámku kennel, and so he was 16 or something like that when he started doing it. And then he joined military. He was drafted, and then and he had education in like in husbandry college, and animal husbandry. And so they found out. So he started working with Karl Hartl, and who just passed away this year, just not that long ago, and they used to have these CV, the Czechoslovakian wolf dog, right? And they were pretty useless for work. They were either really good, like German Shepherd, or they were like wolf. And it was really hard to figure out what they're going to be. But Karl Hartl back then was in charge, and so
This
it
is
was
military.
yeah,
Yeah, in the military.
and so and Jiri was just a newcomer, right? His underling, and then when Karl Hartl left the Border Patrol, Jiri became in charge of the Czech Border Patrol breeding program.
Yeah.
And he
This is for the whole entire country of Czechoslovakia, guys.
yeah.
Hello. I just want to clarify this.
Yeah,
This is the country.
Whole country.
Yeah, this is not-
I'm gonna be writing a book about it. We just dig out some seminar videos and stuff today.
But I just want to make sure this is not a club he was a president of.
No.
This is the entire country of Czechoslovakia.
He was a colonel, which was the high
But the
highest rank. Because it was a police, really. I mean, they look and dressed like soldiers and acted like soldiers, but they were Department of Interior, and which was police, right? And they were guarding the border and all that.
Yeah.
And he was colonel, which is like the highest rank was back then. I don't know what it is now.
Yeah.
And he was in charge of all the breeding program, and he developed, breeding program, how to do it, and bred by those bloodlines, and 5 male bloodlines. We should do video on that, podcast on that. And it's when I came in the picture. I asked him if he would be willing to cooperate with me and start importing dogs to the United States, and we did, and and that's it. That's how the Czech dog started, right? But right now, if you get a dog from Czech, right, there's only about 15 to 25% max of these type dogs in Czech Republic, right? Because after the Iron Curtain fell down, the Germany, people want to compete the Czech dogs. I mean, the Czech trainers. They want to compete. The Czechs are very...
there's freedom now.
So they went to Germany, and the German dogs are more prey-driven rather than prey-defense balance like the old-style Czech dogs are. And they started doing a lot of sport and all that. And so there's a lot of these dogs who are not much different from West German lines. If you want old-style Czech dogs, you got to really work on it. I know I used to go, when I visited, I used to go with Jiri, and he was a German Shepherd judge. And so there was this competition, for breed survey and all that. And he would evaluate the dogs. And the sport people didn't like those old-style Czech dogs. So they would flock around Jiri. So when Jiri was judging, all these people with these dogs come to him, right?
Yeah.
And Jiri then saw some nice dogs, so he would approach the people after the trial. If you want to sell the dog, let me know, and all that, right? And so that's how it was, right, back then, and so it was quite, even back then, the dogs, the old-style Border Patrol-based dogs were quite different from the sport dogs, And for example, if you want to breed dog in Czechoslovakia back then, or even Czech Republic now, you gotta have a title, like a Schutzhund or whatever, breed survey, and show. 3 things. And so the people with these type of dogs would go to Jiri because a lot of these judges were discriminatory towards these dogs. Back then, the sport dogs were mostly black and tan, and the Border Patrol line dogs were sable. And so they had a hard time to pass through the show part of the 3 tests, right? And so they, as I said, they were flocking around Jiri as a judge, and he would pass them, of course, because he promoted them. And that's where these Czech dogs come from. The rest of them are not. I mean, they're also Czech dogs, or they may be German dogs in Czech, but they're different type.
When you say different type,
well, they're more sporty, more prey-driven. The old-style Czech dogs, as I like to call them, they gotta have a balanced prey and defense. Even now you hear when you say defense like a 4-letter word, right?
Yeah.
So to speak. And so, but a good German Shepherd needs to be discriminative and has to have balance between prey and defense. And you have a relative ratio between prey and defense, like 50-50, 60-40, And then you have an absolute ratio, right? So let's say from 0 to 100, right? That's my scale.
Okay.
So you go and the absolute ratio, how much of the 50-50? This is 50-50, this is 50-50, this is 50-50, right?
Yeah.
Or 60-40, right? Right?
Yeah.
But how much of it is? That's the absolute number, So you wanna, the old style Czech dogs, you want them to be 50-50 relative ratio or close to it. Could be 40-60 or 60-40, or that. But you want to have some kind of a balance there, right? You don't want to have a 0-10,
You don't want
right?
too much.
Yeah.
Too.
You don't want to have a 0
or 80-20 or something.
Yeah. And so the sport dogs are like 80 or 90 to 10,
okay.
right, in favor of prey, and disfavor of defense, right, where we want to ideally be 50-50.
Yeah.
And then on scale from 1 to 100 or 1 to 10, whatever scale you make it, you want to be somewhere in the middle or slightly above. You don't want to be way up there. Like Malinois, they would be like 10.
Yeah.
Right? Crazy things, right?
Yeah.
You want to have a normal dog you can live with and who is not going to bite you in the ass every time you get out of the chair too fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody's listening, people listening, like, oh, yeah, I know.
I don't dislike Malinois, don't take me wrong, but if you want Malinois, get Malinois. If you want Shepherd, get Shepherd. Don't mix it up. So don't try to have a Shepherds like Malinois and vice versa. We should make video on that. And anyway, so these old-style Czech dogs, there's only like 15 to 25% of them. And the rest, just because they're coming from Czech Republic, doesn't mean they are the Czech dogs per se, the way I like them. Because why am I saying Czech dogs per se? Because back then, there was no, there was very little, I should say, cooperation between West German breeders and Czech breeders because of the Iron Curtain.
Yeah.
So the Czech dogs kind of went on their own track, right?
Yeah.
So did the DDR dogs.
Yeah.
You know? And
that's what made
the cream of the crop would be the Czech Border Patrol dogs.
Yeah.
Right? Bred by Jiri.
Yeah.
And they was kind of funny because the if the dog was working dog, like a police or a border patrol, in order to get them bred and registered, they didn't have to have a title because they were working dogs. So but the civilian breeders, they got all pissy about it. Yeah. So they told Jiri they got a title all his breeding dogs if he wants them to be registered. They didn't want the military or police rather have some kind of a privileges. So finally it came to fruition. And so Jiri went with all their breeding dogs to trials and every dog passed, no problem. So ZVV, ZVV1, that's what you get. It's a minimum.
Yeah.
Means ZVV stands for základní všeobecný výcvik, means general basic exercise.
General basic, yeah.
Obedience, protection, tracking, just like Schutzhund, but a little different.
Yeah.
So that's a little kind of thing there.
So, but that's what made them legendary. That's why people say Czech dog, Czech. Well,
now every Tom, Dick, and Harry who
Right.
has a dog, Czech dog in fifth generations claims they have a Czech dog, right?
yeah,
And it's not. I mean, I had a guy who sent me a pedigree. I looked at it, and I normally charge for it, but I said, okay, I'll look at it. And I look at it, and there was not one Czech dog,
in the bloodline.
but on the pedigree.
Yeah.
Yet, the breeder who was trying to sell him dog claimed they're Czech.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing, people look at our pedigree and they say, well, you have German dogs there, or even Italian dogs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. But those dogs have to have the characteristics of the old-style Czech dogs in order to be incorporated into the program. Mm-hmm. In other words, there are now people who breed dogs for geographical purity. Mm-hmm. In other words, they want all dogs on the pedigree being from Czech Republic, which is not smart either, right?
Okay.
You need to, personally, I don't mind to incorporate any kind of dog, I mean German Shepherd, of course, into the pedigree as long as it fits our standard for the old-style Czech dog, meaning balance 50-50, prey defense in moderate to slightly above average prey drive and defense drive.
Yeah.
So you need to even show dogs.
Uh-huh.
You want a certain look or something, of the dog. So there was this dog. What the heck was his name? Aris. It was a German show dog, but he was a badass. Mm-hmm. And Jiri incorporated him in his working.
So even though it was a show dog, he had. So that's why you say it's so sad to see, let's say, buying just sable and then you're losing the characteristics versus you have a brown and tan that has it, right? It's, don't buy a dog just for
that's part of it.
Yeah, part of it. Yeah.
But I mentioned that sometimes we add dogs to our breeding lines, which are not Czech dogs, or they may not even be working dogs. They can be show dogs. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't happen very often, very, very, very rarely. But if it does happen, the dog has to have the characteristics of the Czech dog, mm-hmm. and which means gotta have a balanced prey and defense. And one of the typical examples of that type of dogs is Vilo von Arminius. Here is a picture. And it was a dog from 80s. And he was a badass, balanced prey defense, but he was a show dog. I mean, back then the dogs were not really divided between show mm-hmm. and work, right? But he was mainly show dog by function, not necessarily by genetics. Mm-hmm. We, Jiri we would look at the dog, and even so, it was not from Border Patrol lines and stuff. Mm-hmm. There was a lot. The Czech Border Patrol cooperated with a lot of civilian breeders mm-hmm. who had their type of dogs, mm-hmm. and some of those people had a German dogs in it, but it had to be that type of a dog.
Mm-hmm. And you saw that, and it's like, I want that dog.
I can see that. Anybody who knows a little bit about dogs can see it.
And you have the knowledge. Also, and say, I want that is what I'm looking. It's not per se the words from
I don't know your dog Jarina, how much Czech she has in her,
but you've been saying that
but she's a typical Czech dog. As my former girlfriend used to say, she's a redneck bitch. Czech redneck bitch. Czech redneck bitch.
Gina. But it need. You've been at this for so long now that you know it. You just
but I'm trying to say to people, just because the dog is geographically coming from Czech Republic, don't get stuck on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you would, Czechoslovakia is a really small country, and there's a lot of breeders, so there's a lot of dogs. But you are starting to genetic bottleneck. If you keep you gotta introduce new dogs in,
Yeah.
in order to alleviate the genetic bottleneck,
Yeah, I remember you said that earlier. You talked about that you gotta do that, inject.
Yeah, now and then hey, there's a good dog. He's from Russia or Timbuktu.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it's
Got the characters.
and has good hips, good elbows,
Yeah.
good structure.
Yeah.
And he may have something, maybe he has a good pigmentation, and pigmentation is important, not because for the color, but also because with the pigmentation comes other characteristics, and that goes back to your colors. The German Shepherd, and I'm going to try to put picture of it there, have, as developed by Max von Stephanitz, there was 5-6 different type of dogs.
Okay.
Thuringian, Westphalian, and all that. I'm not going to get into it. And you can look at the dog and you can tell what type of German Shepherd it is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put that picture of that Border Patrol guy standing in line. And you can see all the characteristics different.
When they're lined up, is that the picture? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what happens when, because let's say Max von Stephanitz, he would take dogs from different regions and bred them together. And if they came from Pomerania or different, they had a little different characteristics. And you can still see it on that dog. For example, long-coated dogs coming from Pomeranian German Shepherds. And, so they have certain characteristics, And when you start only breeding and being interesting in dark sable dog with raccoon eyes like everybody wants, you completely losing the other characteristics because those characteristics are not dependent on the color, but they come together with that color,
Yeah. And it's happening to a lot of breeds too, right? Kind of because of the show thing sometimes.
Well, it's a fad, It's a fad, You people, they like sable. When I started doing dogs, people didn't, I came with black German Shepherd somewhere, and people say, "What kind of dog is it? Is it a Labrador Retriever?" I say, "Yeah, it's a Labrador Retriever, but this variety has ears up, and it's called German Shepherd."
Yeah, yeah,
that's what I told them.
But
and sable, and I brought sable dog, and they would say. What is that? And I said, that's German Shepherd.
Yeah.
That's a different car. I said, it's called Sable. I said, and they said, I never saw one like that. And then it was so rare, right?
That's why I was going to.
Yeah, and now suddenly it becomes so popular,
Yeah.
You got to have, and you know what, even us, we don't breed that much any other colors because there's no interest. We cannot sell them dogs.
Yeah.
It's a sad thing.
Yeah, but you can. But your point is you can still retain the characteristics, even though it might be same. I mean,
in Czech, for example, there is breeders who breed all sorts of different colors, but here in the United States, it's all sable.
Yeah,
and people want sable. You show them black and tan. It's a show dog. No, it's not a show dog.
Yeah,
just because it's black and tan, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, this is great because you're kind of enlightening. I think maybe waking people up about the characteristics is the really important part.
Max von Stephanitz, they ask him what is the best color for German Shepherd, and he says best color for German Shepherd is the color of the dog who works.
Yeah, it works. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. In other words, what color it is.
Yeah,
but that's old battle. I am not winning.
But I mean, logically, it makes sense if you think about it. I mean,
German Shepherd is a dog which is supposed to work. It's a herding breed. It's not working dog. People say German Shepherd is working dog.
Herding?
No, it's a herding dog.
Yeah.
There's difference between herding and working. Rottweiler, Doberman are working dogs. German Shepherd, Belgian Malinois, Belgian Tuver, and Bousseron, they are herding dogs.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's different.
Yeah. I mean, it's a deep topic, but...
well, I want people at least get a taste of it,
Yeah.
So that they know that just because you're buying dogs from Czech Republic doesn't mean it's an old-style Czech dog, number one. Number two, don't get stuck on geographical purity.
Yeah.
right? Just, but then again, you want to deal with breeder who understands, who doesn't throw crap there, and they say, oh, look, he doesn't care about, No, if you're good breeder, you pick up the dogs from Poland or Russia or Timbuktu, I like to say, but you pick them up with purpose.
Yeah.
Not just haphazardly throwing dogs together in a backyard.
Yeah. But that's the difficulty for someone that's new and they just, I want, it's hard for the buyer too. So,
yeah, it's hard. But you know what Musashi said?
Yes, I know what Musashi said. Everything seems difficult at first. Yes.
Everything
seems difficult.
At first, everything seems difficult.
Yeah.
And it's something, what if you're a brain surgeon or auto mechanic, I'm not brain surgeon or auto mechanic. I mean, I can fix cars somewhat, but I hire an auto mechanic to fix my car, and I hire brain surgeons to do brain surgery, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with dog. If you don't want to be dog breeder, just find somebody who knows what he's talking about, which is a rare commodity these days.
Yeah.
There is another thing is Czech dogs supposed to be bred in male bloodlines. As I talked about, 5 male bloodlines, and you should breed them within the bloodline and all that. And I will talk about that sometimes too,
Yeah. This poster that's behind Hans, you guys can see a part of it, a little white. Yeah, there. And you sell that poster,
yeah,
right?
I sell that poster,
yeah. We should do a video on that explaining so people can kind of, at least when they look at something, they understand how to read it correctly. But yeah, it's fascinating to me when I look at that poster. And Hans been explaining to me, I still fully don't. I mean, I still need more education in it, but I know a little bit more.
And that seminar I showed you that Jiri's talking about this. They're explaining it.
If you enjoyed this content so far, please subscribe to our channel. Also, Hans has a podcast channel called Dog Training for Life. Check that out so you can listen to the audio version.
Whatever I know from him, of course.
Yeah.
I remember he came and he says, well, this is 5th bloodline. You shouldn't breed it with a 2nd or 3rd bloodline. Not in this case. Sometimes you can, but not, And I'm saying, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
I never heard of it too.
Yeah.
Back then, 30, 40 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And he says, I said, well, can you explain it to me? What the heck? He says, yeah, you have this thing on website. It's called Pedigree database.
Yeah.
Pull it out on computer. So he put it on computer, show it to me. 5 minutes later, I understood it. But then you need to know the characteristics of these bloodlines, how to match it and all that.
Well, it's kind of like a painting,
But that's what Czechs do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you have basic colors, right? Basically, you have your mother colors and the ones you cannot mix, and you have white with that, and here you can create a painting. So it's kind of similar with bloodlines too, or characteristics, I should say, because now, Jiri knew and explained it, like you knew now how to put together, that painting.
I call it dovetailing.
Yeah. Okay.
You got you breed in the bloodline, but you also got a dovetail, right? So you dovetail. You have virtue
in a way.
Virtues is against problems.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
You don't want to double up on a problem, right?
But again, that's like, you have to know. I mean,
yeah. Another thing is people say to me, well, what's so different about Czech dogs? And I say it's the culture. Why would Czechs have these type of dogs? Well, first of all, Czechs were separated from Germany with Iron Curtain, so we played in our own sandbox.
Yeah.
And that was reflected by what the Czechs like and don't like.
Yeah.
Czechs are different than German. And a German can tell you that because German hates Czechs, right? Because we had a common history for a long time, but they could never break us, and so Czechs are a little different, or.
And then the taxation was, we recorded that. I don't know, taxing.
That's the ZVV. Is it
yeah,
published?
that was the ZVV. That was Watch the ZVV video, and Hans explains why the dogs were so well.
Go look it up. Is it published?
Yeah, ZVV is. Yeah, it's actually was one of the most popular ones.
So go look it up, guys. ZVV podcast.
ZVV podcast. Yeah.
But you see, the Czechs are different culture. Germans through history were expansionists. They want to expand. You can look at the size of the countries on the map and can tell who is the most expansionist in Europe. It doesn't necessarily work in South America, where Brazil is gigantimous, but it's not because their expansion is just because nobody was there basically besides some Aborigines. But in Europe there were constant wars. So the Czechoslovakia is a tiny little country, right? Because we didn't fight much wars.
You guys are peaceful people.
Yeah, we're not peaceful. don't say we're not peaceful. We just want to be left alone.
Just leave me alone.
Yeah, left alone. Leave me alone.
You're like a rattlesnake.
Yeah, leave me alone. I'll fucking kill you. Yeah, it's like these Czechs during World War I. They would. The Czech legions. I've told you the story, right?
When they came back.
Yeah, the Czechs, they fought on the Russian front. They didn't want to fight for Austro-Hungarian Empire.
Yeah.
So they defected into Russia.
Yeah.
Russia, not Soviet Union. It was Russia.
Russia.
And or Soviet Union actually become there. That was still the friction and the revolution was going on at the same time. And then the World War I ended, and Czechs want to go home.
Yeah, they don't want to fight for
and the communists in Russia, they wanted them to fight for them because the Czechs, was like 30,000 of them. They wanted to be they were the best organized fighting units in Russia.
Russia wanted them.
So they wanted to fight for the revolution for them.
Yeah.
And the Czechs says, fuck that.
Yeah.
We want to go home.
Yeah.
You can knock yourself out with your revolution over here.
Yeah.
Right? And so it was like 100 miles from where they were stationed to Czech.
Yeah.
But between them was this multi-million Russian army.
Yeah.
And the Czechs didn't want to fight the Russian army to go home. So what they did, they commandeered train, stole Russian golden treasure. It was full wagon or 5 wagons of loaded with gold, right? Yeah. That's how they financed the supplies and stuff. Yeah. And through Trans-Siberian, so the Czechs are Czechoslovakia is west.
Yeah.
And they got the train and went east, all the way to Vladivostok, all across Siberia, all the way.
Yeah.
And they're commandeer ships there, and Czechs didn't know anything about sailing because they were a landlocked country. Yeah. So they commandeered the ships with the
they had money
with the crew.
Yeah,
paid them.
Yeah,
and then they went around the world, around the globe, all around to Germany and France, and then back to Czech. And then some of them crossed across the United States. Some of them were around India through Suez Canal. Some of them were around Africa.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And so, so, and during that time when they went across Siberia, and you can look it up, look up Czech legions in Siberia. You will see it up on Google. Those guys were tough, man. Yeah. That's Czechs, that's how we used to be anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just
the uniqueness of and we're going back to obviously ending with the uniqueness of the Czech dog.
That's right.
I mean,
that's right. Different kind of people,
Yeah. No, it's fascinating to. There's so much more to learn. We think we know things, and there's just so much to learn.
Yeah.
And a lot of topics too. We always.
And that's why that's why, and I'll say it at the risk that people will not agree with me, but that's why I like Ukraine so much. They're fighting the Russians, same way, they fight them because they want to be independent.
Yeah.
And same thing. And what's funny, I discovered few clubs in Ukraine where they train dogs. And you know what funny thing is? They do the same shit I teach.
In Ukraine, yeah.
Yeah, in Ukraine.
Yeah.
You know, because there's the same type of thinking of people,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
You know,
Tough. They want to.
yeah. They're different breed. They're you know like Czechs.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're even Slavs. You know, they're Kazakhs.
Kazakh. Yeah.
You know, and they were warriors, tribes. You know, badass people. You know,
Like the Magyars.
Magyar. Yeah. Well, Magyars are descendants of Genghis Khan.
That's
so.
right. Part of the Great Wall of China was built because of that.
Yeah. So
Yeah. No, this is. I mean, again, there's so much.
Magyar means Hungarian for
Yes.
the
Yes.
uninitiated.
Yes. No, thanks for kind of just dipping our toes into the water a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, it's a culture. And people say, so what are you talking culture? You know, and it's a culture. Believe me, it's different.
Yeah.
We have better beer and better dogs than anybody.
And that's how we're gonna end the show today. In all seriousness, if you guys want to learn more from Hans, visit Alpine Canine Real. He has a whole bunch of videos on there, obedience videos, personal protection videos, how to feed puppies raw, and all these great videos. Also, if you're looking for a puppy or
Trained adult.
a trained
Or
adult,
brood bitch.
yeah, female, yeah,
Yeah, I'm just selling brood bitch right now.
okay,
We sell brood dogs.
okay,
We breed them in Czech, send them to United States, pregnant.
yeah. I remember recently one of the guys. I see the dogs from that litter. She had some beautiful dogs, but these dogs are in the Czech, so they come from the Czech.
Right.
So
the
you guys
Czech
have-
dogs in America.
Yeah, so
Just like me.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm a Czech dog in America.
That's right.
I'm American. I'm proud of it.
There's
I love America.
There's similarities. It's the greatest country on this planet for sure.
No shit, man.
And
None
and
better.
I'm focus, Hans, focus. Yeah. So visit. And then Hans does one-on-one training also,
Coaching.
coaching. I mean, training. It's through the video.
Right.
Back and forth, phone and video. So it's on his website.
Yeah,
also.
you
Yeah.
can do it. Just give me a call, and you
Yeah.
can do it by time, or you can when you buy the videos,
the protection videos.
then
will
I'll
come.
coach you through it. As you go through it, you can send me video
Yep.
of your training, and I'll tell you what you do right, what you do wrong, and all that.
Hans is an encyclopedia, everyone. So, yeah,
Yeah, I'm a Renaissance man,
he's a Renaissance. man.
like Leonardo da Vinci.
That's right. He's a Paganini of dog training. All right, guys. See you next time.
Ahoy!